Kanaka, Fiji, and a warm welcome to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM. It's great to have you with me and also our guest in the studio. Now, the Ministry of Mums is a fairly new group who simply care enough and have a passion to educate our children about the effects of drugs. So you've, targeted the teenagers. Is there any plan to even reach out to primary schools as well?
Definitely.
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. We're sort of not 100% sure on what age we should be starting, but I'm talking to my 7-year-old about drugs and what's good drugs and what's bad drugs. So I think we can tailor make our program to suit the younger ones, just to raise the awareness anyway, because the younger they are, the better.
Yes, I reckon.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. In
Yes.
primary school and everything, which is really crucial. What I've been finding going out to the villages, so we went to Nakuruwai in Nodo, Rewa, and obviously talking this openly about this. And they sit there, like the young children, they actually know what's actually happening. And they're usually the one that are voiceless anyway at the end of the day. But when you create an atmosphere or, a platform for them to voice whatever is going on, it's amazing what they come up with.
Yeah.
And they say the darndest thing when you least expect it, they just come at, oh yes, Dad, I seen Dad doing this, I see, and I thought, okay,
Caught red-handed.
I think it's important that when we go into the schools, we don't just tell the kids, don't do this.
no,
Yeah,
we go
that's
in
right.
and we say to them, we're here to have a conversation with you.
Yes.
We're going to talk about drugs and what's the good drugs and what's the bad drugs, and we're going to give you the information that you need.
Yeah.
So when you're offered the bad drugs, you'll know what they are and you'll know what they do to you, and you can
That's
make
it.
a sensible decision.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's the way you teach. You don't want to be sounding like a teacher,
Yeah.
doing a lecture. You want to be, coming out in the right way.
Because at the end of the day, it's like, how do you engage the young people?
Exactly.
When you tell them no, they're going to go and find out and work it out themselves. It's better to tell them, okay, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Give them the factual information.
Right.
They will make those choices
Yeah,
anyway.
conversation.
Yeah.
That's true. So what were the visits like to the schools? I mean, what did you gather at the sessions that you did
Well, on
have?
the first one at Marist, I was actually blown away because I took my old boss from the US Embassy and I said to him on the way there, this is going to be really difficult because culturally, the boys have so much respect at Marist, they won't talk. They'll be quiet. When we ask them to talk, they won't want to talk.
That must be quite awkward,
Yeah, it
you're
was.
trying to talk and everyone's just quiet looking. So I bet you managed to get some to talk.
Well,
there.
we did. We couldn't keep them quiet. They
Yeah.
had so many things to share and offer. And
lovely.
yeah, it was a really, really engaging conversation. Afterwards, there was lineups of boys wanting to talk to one of us
Yes.
that were there and
Yeah.
asking questions, wanting
Yeah.
to share information. So, yeah, they really surprised us. I was super proud to be a Maris mum that day.
That's lovely because I mean they would probably know more than us.
Yes, they
because
do.
they're
Yeah.
actually around the children.
Yeah.
So what else
they
did you find
do.
out?
I can speak literally for gospel. Gospel was an eye opener for me when I did that one, right? So obviously, I just threw out a question in what we call room full of 800 plus students, and then obviously the principal was sitting behind me and everything. So I'm asking question. I only asked literally 2 questions, but the main one was, are drugs harmful? Short and sweet, and then open it out for them to actually come up to the mic and actually answer to everyone. Eh?
Right.
So one of them came up and he said, not all drugs are bad. Some are good because, cure cancer or whatever medication that you might have.
Yeah.
But there was this young, Form 5 young girl walked straight across. She grabs the mic and then she said, personally for me, it's not harmful. I actually like I'd like to get high and it helps me study. For me, that was
I just like that.
like that. So the thing is, it's like, it's not we can't be naive to say that it doesn't happen. These kids, they have all the information. And for her, that was her choice. She made that a bold statement in front of everyone, like to think, wow,
Oh my.
this is in the
goodness
school, in front
me.
of all the teachers, the principal and everything else. It's like, how, what do we do from that? Yes.
Okay, we'll have to get back to that soon on Speak Your Mind Gold FM, only the classic hits. And we're back on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. Thank you a lot for your sweet company, and very interesting to be talking to our guests from the Ministry of Mum, the founder, Elana Kalonisinga, and also from the NGO Volatambu Group, the CEO, Kalesi Volatambu. Now, just going back to what you said, how bold that young lady, how old would she have been? About
16, 17?
Just to stand up and say that in front of the whole school.
Yeah.
Right. So what was your reaction, and what did you actually, did you follow up with something to say?
Yes, I did. I had to. So at the end of the day, it's like just reiterate what she actually said. Because when she walked back, the students were erupting.
Oh.
Yes. So it was like you would have, it was quite surprising to stand there and you see, half of the school applauding her and the other half is saying no.
There you
But
go.
yeah, so obviously to go back to what she was saying, it was like literally, at the end of the day, we're not here to say don't do this, don't do that. It's like we're here to give you the factual information. At the end of the day, the choice is yours. And the thing is just letting them, what are some of the consequences? Because obviously it's fun. They want to show that they're tough in front of their friends.
Exactly.
Yes, they want to be, part of the group, to fit in. They're the top dog, as you say. Yes. So when she went back, I actually pity her as she was walking back, because it's like, for me, what has her life been?
So you don't know her background.
No, you don't know her background or anything else. So obviously, at the end of the day, it's just saying the choices are literally theirs. The consequences, they literally need to be aware. What are some of the consequences?
Boy, just to say that when I'm high, I study better.
Yes.
Oh my
Which is some of
goodness.
the lies the dealers would tell people. It will help you study better. It will, you'll stay awake so you can study. Which is just those lies literally telling these young people, to take these drugs.
Yeah. So, Elana, for you at Marist, what was the reaction, and what did you find out from talking about drug awareness?
Well, I asked the boys to raise their hand if they'd heard about meth or ice, and every single boy in the school put his hand up. So the kids know about it. They know it's out there. They know it's on the street. No one was bold enough to get up and say they've tried it, thankfully. We actually had a really good conversation that day. We went about an hour longer than we had anticipated. The kids were asking questions. We had a young boy come up. He was about 14, and he came afterwards and asked to speak in private, and he asked us if he could form his own gang. And we said, what's the gang for? And he said, well, I know on my street there's about 5 guys that are selling this, and we want to get rid of them. But how can we form them? What can we do? And I'm like, what you can do is you can share that information with the right people, and we can point you in the right direction. But that's not our job to go and chase and fight the dealers. That's the police.
Police, yes.
And we need to support them, because they're doing the best they can, and they do a great job, the Fiji police. So
Yes.
Definitely.
yeah, I think it's opening up that relationship with teenagers and police, and letting them know that the police are actually accessible, and that the police want to hear from the kids and hear what they've got to say, because the kids are honest and they share.
They just got to find somebody they can trust to actually
Yeah.
come and have that talanoa, eh?
Yeah.
Because when they do share, the last thing they need is somebody to sit there and judge them and try to discipline them straight away. No, they just need an ear. That's
Yeah.
it at the end of the day.
That's the approach that you need to
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, for them to tell you that they know how many people selling it in their street.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it?
My goodness me. And well, obviously, there are a lot of school children who are now on drugs. And I'd say, I mean, besides marijuana, hard drugs.
Yeah, we don't actually know the full stats. It's really difficult. We know
Yeah.
that by the stats we have received, we know that there's a lot of kids that have experimented. We know that they're very open to it. They know it's there, that it's very easily accessible. It's a really difficult one to say, a percentage, because we're not, we're still in the research stages ourselves, and that's one of our focuses on the National Drug Task Force.
Yeah.
Is to get the right stats, get the information but from independent observers.
Yes,
Yeah.
So I suppose when you're at the school, you might have a fair idea that there are quite a lot of students who are into drugs.
There is. So the workshop that we did at Corpus Christi, the Teachers College, we actually deliver, but at the same time, we actually got them involved in actually having a workshop with them to gain their insight of just 3 questions, obviously. Why do people take drugs? How harmful is it? And what are the solutions you would think? It's
Okay.
quite amazing with 130 participants and the teachers as well. But what the teachers was quite surprised was the information from the students. And they were clueless. They had no idea that, this is what the young people are experiencing, obviously. They so obviously some of the kids actually got up and did a testimony themselves. That is like the courageous thing where they got up and they say, you know what, I used to use and this is because of blah blah blah. So yeah, so you're privileged literally for someone to be bold enough to stand up and say, you know what, in front of their peers and in front of their teachers to share that. Eh?
I think
Yeah.
it's about creating a safe
Yes,
space, and
it
that's what we're
is.
trying to do with the mums
Yes,
group. We,
definitely.
that it's really it's a beautiful thing to share and get support, and that's what the mums group's all about. Is
Yes.
like being that arms wide open, doors wide open.
Definitely.
Come and talk to
Yeah.
us and share. You're not going to get into trouble. We're here to help you and
That's
support you,
it.
not to chastise you or
Yes.
chase you away.
Yeah.
We want to help.
That's true.
And it's quite amazing because they then are motivated to form their own support group, peer
Yeah.
group themselves to say, you know what, we want to make a difference. We want to be champions.
The
We want to
ripple
go back.
effect.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, that is just so good. Now, how do you think we can keep our children safe from drugs? I believe that you've even had information that some parents are actually getting their children to sell their drugs for them at school. Is that right?
Yeah, we've heard of a few
Yes.
stories. Some of the
Yeah.
kids have approached us and told us those stories, and we try to, we just tell them, that's not a good choice and that's the wrong thing
But,
to do. And
But obviously, the children do know it's wrong. That's
Yeah.
why
Oh,
they're
yes.
telling you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, yes, they do. And the thing is, like, my phone is on 24/7, right? So I get phone call from everyone, not just from Suva. So majority of the time, I'd get 3 or 4 phone calls a night. Just people want to talk, and so literally, I would do that. I've had from the western side, Nandi Lotoka, man, the phone calls I get and everything else, I know of my brother that's doing it, this is blah, 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 so all that information comes through and it's like, wow, how do you even begin to actually unpack this? Because I can see we're actually doing a comprehensive thing here in Suva. The western side and other parts of Fiji, they are so remote and they're just crying out for more awareness and everything. What can they do?
Yeah. And help as well, just as Elana
Yes.
said. I mean, the
Yes.
approach is really important. You've got to,
Very.
ease them into your arms, open arms.
Yeah.
Look, we're here to help you. And obviously, they want help as well.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
On Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. We'll be back in a moment. This is Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Our guest in the studio from the Ministry of Mums, the founder Elana Kaloni Singer, as well as the NGO Volatambu Group, the CEO Kalesi Volatambu. Now, as we have been saying, I actually posed the question of how do you think we can keep our children safe from drugs?
okay, well, I think it comes back to the parents.
Yeah.
I actually made a statement last week about the kids that are put on the street to sell food, rotis and things.
Yes.
You're placing your kids in extremely vulnerable positions to do that at night, send them out on their own to sell rotis. I'm meeting boys in Lammy and young girls in Lammy town, down at Abhi Patel, down at Costules. They're everywhere, yeah? And the first thing I say is, where's your mum? Where's your dad? Are they at home? Well, go home and tell your mum not to send you because I said so.
Yeah, good.
And tell mum to come and sell food.
Herself.
We need to, and talk to the kids, open up conversation, talk to them, share, talk about drugs and what they do. And yeah, please consider whether it's a good place for your kids to be out on the street at night because it's not.
This is not right. I mean, how can parents send their children to do that? I can't understand it. I mean,
It's
I
sad.
know you said that you understand, they're trying to make a living, but go yourself and sell it.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The question is literally, does the parents even know where their children are?
That's
'Cause,
another
yes,
question, yeah.
it is a big question, especially when we're coming up to holidays and Christmas holidays as well. It's not too far ahead and everything else. The thing is, at the end of the day, I'm not saying, some parents would come home now, Ghana comes first. They sit there obviously as a father, or even mums are even doing it now, where they're literally, they forget their responsibility with their children. First and foremost, who's going to be the guardian for these young kids? Because I know we didn't have the hibiscus. There were so many kids on the street literally looking for activities or something to do after hours. Obviously, we didn't have anything here. So
Right.
it's just interesting to find out, okay, where are the parents? Do they even know where their children are? Yes.
I mean, it's a responsibility of the parent or the guardian. You just don't let your children go wandering off, do you?
Yeah.
And doing what they want. Like you said, exposing themselves to
Yes.
dangers and criminal elements,
Yep.
drugs and all that. So for parents, it's all about priority, I reckon.
Yep.
Just putting your priorities right.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's great that you've been in the news highlighting all this. But now, what about the question of how are you working with the National Task Force for Drug Harm Prevention to help eradicate the use of methamphetamine by children?
Well, that's a really awesome group that's been formed. It's represented on every level, and everybody brings their own ideas to the table. So it's about putting strategies into place and creating the awareness. So for us with the Ministry of Mums, we're actually incredibly honoured to be a part of that because we're not titled, we're not a legal group. We're just a group of mums, and Khaleesi being able to share her life experience has made it real. So there's a lot of, that's still in the early stages as well, the National Task Force, that they met this morning.
Yes.
There's a lot of plans in place, and there's a really, really good, strong, educated bunch of people that have some great plans in place for that. Yeah.
The critical thing is it's like first time in history I'm actually first starting to see how different ministries are actually collaborating together.
Yes.
And NGOs and stakeholders. We've never done that before. This is new grounds where everyone comes together and the keeping in mind what's the goal at hand. And it's obviously the drug harm reduction.
And it's about time too, because
Yes.
it's the people need to know the truth of what is happening in the country.
Yes.
Like I had said earlier when we did our early interview about, I had no idea it was that bad.
Yeah, and it's difficult because a lot of people are easy to blame and say,
Yeah.
oh, the police are not doing their job.
That's-
That's
yeah,
wrong.
yes.
It's not just the police's
Yeah.
job, it's actually the community's job.
Yes,
It's
very
the
much
mums and
so.
dad's job. It's your brother and sister. We say to the kids at school,
yeah.
you are responsible for the person next to you. You're responsible
Definitely.
for their choices. If we all had that community involvement, that community spirit, it can be really powerful.
Yes.
So to see
yes.
the ministries coming together and the National Task Force, it's a really big blessing for Fiji.
Huge.
I really,
huge.
really, really think so too, because it just feels that we're protecting our children, for a better future.
Yeah, and they are our
Yes.
future.
And they are our future,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's incredibly
Yeah,
important
yeah.
to remember that they're our future.
They are. I need to, you know what? I need to pay tribute and acknowledge those people that have actually reached out to get the truth about drugs into their own setting, whether it be in churches, whether it be in villages, however remote it is, just to go out to be, man, I can't even remember how many thousands of people that I've met so far with the students and online. And so our Facebook page, one post reached 40,000. That was huge. So it literally tells us the need is out there. They're wanting some help. They want the information to go to them. And I need to reiterate again, like literally we need to contextualize it to Fiji. So when we do, just be mindful when we're delivering. And I learned that literally when going into Nandi and the village at Nodo, you need to contextualize, change the language that we're using, the mother tongue. Whoever is there, the dialect, using that as a concept as well,
Yes.
to be able to deliver. But you go to the schools and everything. I've even been to St. Giles. That, yes, doing a workshop with the St. Giles addicts.
Wow.
Yes,
Seriously? Can you
Yes.
tell us a bit about it?
I have. So obviously they just reached out after seeing the FBC interview and everything. So they just reach out and see if I was interested to come in and do some workshop. Yes.
Lovely.
So
Okay.
I've gone in there now every week. I'm going in to just
Okay.
to sit down and just to get their insight as well, and just to see, wow.
So
Yes.
they are drug addicts and they're supposed to be recovering at the St. Giles Hospital.
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably not the right place for them though.
No.
I think we also need to look with the mums group. We're
Yeah.
trying hard to say to friends and family and people that know addicts. Yeah, it's a really bad thing to make the choice to become a drug addict, but most people
Yes.
don't make the choice. They try it once and they're hooked and they can't
That's
stop.
it.
So they
Yeah.
actually need our
Yeah.
support.
Yes,
So
yes.
putting them in remand centres and throwing them in St Giles is not going to help.
not
Probably going to make them worse.
We need a proper rehabilitation centre in
do.
Fiji with trained
Yeah.
people that know how to deal with drug abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And we need those people. They need support. Then it's an addiction, and it's
Yes.
an incredibly tough addiction to break. So that's where we come in by trying to encourage them not to make the choice to take it in the
That's
first
right.
place.
Yes, and
Yeah.
if they have and they feel trapped, I mean, you are there to help them get out of it. But we'll be back soon on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Welcome back. And our guest from the Ministry of Mums, the founder, Elana Kaloni Singer. And we also have from the Volatambu Group, the CEO, Kalesi Volatambu. And I do hope you are enjoying the program. If you have a question or if there's something that you'd like to share, you can call 3220906 or 77320906. Very interesting. Now, I believe your group is still negotiating with the government to start a center in Suva. And this is where students can spend time in rather than leaving them to look for illegal things to engage in. Elana?
Yeah, we haven't actually formally addressed or requested the government. We've actually put it to the National Task Force.
Okay.
That what the Ministry of Mums would love is a drop-in centre. So it's a place where kids can just drop in. They'll be able to get help with their homework. My vision for that is it's just a nice big space and there's mums there and there's mums that care about kids, and we might help them with their homework. They might have internet access to selected sites, no gaming or anything like that. I'd love to see a big wall full of instruments and get some of the musicians to donate their time and come down, one afternoon a week and do guitar lessons or piano, like give the kids some purpose. Have another section that's just a coffee lounge area where the kids can come and sit, just tell a Noah, share stories, get information, but all the while promoting safety and drug awareness. And over time, if you can get the kids to drop in, you do inevitably build relationships.
Yes, you do.
And you open up your arms and you get the trust of the kids. And, you can save lives by doing that, just by being a mum.
Yeah, because it's when children are bored when they start doing, other stuff like drugs.
Yeah, and give them a purpose. There might be some really talented kids out there and they don't have access to art facilities, they don't have access to dance or music, and those creative performing arts can bring out the best in people.
Yeah.
Okay, so just say the center is built. Where will the ideal location be? And you've already described how you'd love it to be, like the inside will obviously be very attractive. Yeah?
Well, hopefully somewhere in Central Suva. We're talking with some possible stakeholders at the moment that have actually reached out to us and said we'd love to be involved, and they have a facility that already has counsellors. But yeah, we'll meet them next week and hopefully we can get something together, and through the National Task Force we might be able to get counsellors on board and just mums. So the Ministry of Mums group, we've already got enough mums there that would only have to volunteer one afternoon a month, and we're covered.
That's just great because you never know what the children are going through, in their homes.
Yeah.
I mean, they could come from broken homes,
course.
or they could be brought up by someone else. So if they have a center like this, it would be really helpful.
There's one of the boys from a school that we've been to, and he's 15 and his father's in prison. And his mum left and ran off with another man, and he's being raised by his grandmother, but she's 87. She's not able to be able to fulfill all of his needs, firstly because she's older and she's not mobile. So this guy, he's got so much potential and he just needs some love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
that's the
just
thing.
needs someone to help him with his homework, and the drop-in centre would inevitably attract those kind of kids, and they're the ones that need us the most.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
they
I mean,
do.
if you show them the love, and you
Yes.
can put them on the right track.
Yeah.
Alana actually tapped on something critical that we haven't literally spoken about as well. We've got grandparents raising their own grandchildren. They literally
a lot.
need the support. They need the support because obviously I've had phone calls from grandfather in the West. Yes, for him trying to raise a 13-year-old, and he's trying to ask questions that he's not even ready or doesn't even understand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad, I mean, to be depending on grandparents,
Yeah.
especially when they're that old.
That's why it's a community effort.
It has to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, like
Yes,
we've got
it
to
has.
look out for the warning signs and look out
Yes.
for the vulnerable kids and actually
That's
reach
it.
out, open up your doors and
Yeah,
let them in
yeah.
and help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is the right time that you've come in because, I mean, just imagine sweeping it under the carpet, what would happen?
Which
Yeah.
we have been doing here in Fiji for the longest time.
Yeah.
This taboo subject.
Yeah.
Yes, this taboo subject, we need to bring the light into it. Everybody needs to start dialogue this.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, if you just sweep it under the carpet, things just get worse and
Yes.
worse. And okay, so you've also said Fiji needs to have a proper rehabilitation center. Why?
Well, I think myself personally, we don't look at addiction in the right way. Addiction is a health issue. It's not just a mental health issue. It's an actual physical health issue. And the cost of addiction on the government, on resources and pharmaceutical is absolutely massive. So we need to look at ways that we can start training counsellors, because in Fiji at the moment we lack the right people that know how to deal with addicts. So the addicts need support and they need a place that they can recover and they can go through the processes, which is an incredibly long process. But we just don't have the facilities or the people that are trained to deal with them at the moment. So that's something that
Yes.
that the mums group would really love to see happen, and Khaleesi
Yes.
can speak from personal
Yes.
experience how important that is.
Yes, please, Kalesi.
Yes, it is very much so. So obviously, after being in Melbourne, the rehabilitation centre that I was at, it was a healing centre. It has to be a healing centre first and foremost.
Okay.
Because when you're working with the addicts, it's literally not just them you're going to be working with, it's the family as well.
Yes.
So when you're an addict, you internalize everything. Obviously, the world doesn't exist. You're perfect and everybody else is wrong. But obviously with them, there's this disconnection that happens. We need to work on this restoration. So it's spiritual restoration and even the body, the person itself. So obviously you need to work with the person and obviously the family as well. It's a holistic approach. It has to be first and foremost.
Right.
And obviously you need a separate center that is, say for instance, ideally somewhere which is remote.
Yes, like
Yes.
a nice countryside setting.
Out in Wanandoi or up in Namosi.
Yeah,
or
on the
somewhere
forest.
near the
I was
river.
thinking the beach.
Yeah,
I
near the
thought
beach, that'd be
too.
cool
It would be
too.
the beach would be lovely.
Yes,
Listening
yes.
to the waves and
But
getting time
it
to
goes back
reflect.
to that community effort, Khaleesi,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
Yes,
We
it
can't wait
does.
for the
No.
government. The government's doing everything that
Yeah.
they have to do and more.
Definitely.
Like
Right.
it's a community. We all have to put
Yeah.
our hands together, our heads
Yes.
together.
Yeah.
Stop relying on someone else to do it for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And think, well,
Yeah.
if not me, then who?
Yeah, well, somebody I'm sure would be very happy to donate a nice little piece of land beside the
Yes,
sea.
Yeah.
I mean,
please.
there's plenty landowners living beside the
Yes,
sea.
So
very
if anyone's
much.
out there, give us a
Yes.
call.
Yeah,
That's right.
sure
It'll be a
thing.
huge
Give them a call.
investment.
Yeah. I mean, perfect place. And then you just need to
Yes.
dress it all up. and
Definitely.
How many beds would you be planning to have?
15 or
just
20. That's
15 or
ideal.
24
15
ideal?
or 20 ideal.
These will be
Yeah.
for the hardcore addicts.
hardcore addicts.
That's the rehabilitation
yes,
center.
yes. So obviously to male and female,
Mm-hmm.
yes, which is really good. And obviously you look at the staff, how many you're going to have and everything else. And you know,
Meals as well. You have to
has
be
to
providing meals.
security.
It's a home.
It
Yeah.
is going to be a home. Yeah, could you imagine? Because you can't fix this overnight, right? So when you go into a rehab, because it's taken them however long to actually become that full blown addict. So it's going to take 3 to 4 months minimum to work with these guys. Yes, girls or boys. Yes, and they have to relearn everything again. They have to relearn how to communicate. Because when you're an addict, you forget how to communicate with your loved ones, let alone a stranger or someone else.
Just block everyone
Yes,
out.
you do. So your personal skills needs to, so your life experience, everything. And you got to literally confront those issues that drove you to drug or alcohol in the first place.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
sort of get a bit of healing from
You have
facing
to. Yes.
what the problem, how the problem started.
Yes, yes.
And you can't be rehabilitated unless you want to be.
That's it.
That's so
That's
true.
the reality of it.
That is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
reality, and it's not
It
an
is.
easy thing
No.
to convince someone to actually just change
Yeah,
for
that's
good.
why we're
No.
seeing, quite often we're seeing the same people going back into remand centres
Yes,
and prison
yeah.
for the same issues because
Yeah.
they're addicts and they need help.
They are.
And it happens overseas as well. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yes.
as soon as they leave prison, the pimp waiting for them, and they're back into it.
Yes.
It's a very hard job, but it's a job worth doing.
Yes, it is. Very much so.
On Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is our last segment. Hope you're enjoying the show. If you want to ask a question, 3220906 or 7732906. But you might notice that we have another friend with us, and he is also from the Volatambu group and just representing the male side. Saki Vetongavi, a warm welcome to Speak Your Mind. Okay, and it's really interesting that you are, well, a part of the Volatambu group. It's good to see that, and you're a father as well. So what makes you interested in being part of the Volatambu group?
Thank you very much. I was in the dig before, so I'm sharing my experiences to help the young people in getting out of these problems and the choices that is made. I'm also part of this group because it's important to speak to fathers. That is very important that they play a vital role in the engagement of the families in all the areas of their life. Most of the times we are brought up in cultural ways and in churches where you cannot speak up against your parents. Whatever your parents do, that is the best for you. But not realizing that you have more to share with your children than by just working and feeding them, giving them food. It's more than that because most of the time the children are away from their parents. They are at home. When I was brought up, I went to boarding school from Form 1 to Form 6. So that period of life, I was not taught at home. So I had to learn myself and survive in an atmosphere in a boarding school where there was only male dominated. And you had to be strong and you have to learn your way through. So it's important that the parents are involved, especially your dad. The dads making sure that it's not only being a dad, head of a family. You know, you are part of the family. You know, you have a role to play in the holistic upbringing of your child.
I mean, that for me is, you know, being there for your child, you know, paying attention to your child and just showing the love, like you said, sometimes it's more of, you know, dad's the boss, you can't question dad, you know, dad's around, you can be, anyway, but you said that you were an addict yourself, and that was like in overseas or something?
No, in Fiji. I was into it at a very young age. So it went to a stage where I nearly got admitted to St. Giles. I went to prison for it.
Oh, okay.
I have to admit that. But
okay, that's fine. I mean,
I don't say
turned your
it as a
life
shame.
around. No, why would you?
No, it was, you know, like getting involved into this program. I sort of see it as a calling, you know, like I'm concerned for the children out there. I'm concerned for the young people, you know, especially with hard drugs coming in, you know.
Yeah.
It's important to reach out for the love of this nation, what you will do to assist, you know, in whatever way possible. The police are doing their work. Everyone is doing their part. Ministry of Health, all the ministries or wherever the social welfare. But for former users, you know, like who have gone through this hell of an experience with life, it's about time you come back, you know, and just reach out to our people. And especially now, when there is social media, everyone is on the internet, and you know it has to be a change in the mindset in all the groups. When I mention group, it's the churches, it's the provinces, it's the villages, the toka, you know, all the structures within in the communities as a whole, in Fijian families, and also, you know, to deal with all the families.
That's true. And it takes a strong person to be able to get out of that dark hole that you would have been in. So, I mean, it just makes perfect sense to have someone who has experienced it, has gotten out. You are an inspiration, honestly speaking. But, I mean, in your view, I mean, now we have hard drugs. And I mean, before it was just marijuana, like in the 80s. And now we're coming to the methamphetamine, which we never knew about in the 80s. And it is so bad for you. I mean, what is the reality of the situation of hard drugs in Fiji now?
I guess we all know what is happening around us. You know, those are the effects, things that never happened before. In the, we can imagine 2004, that was the biggest drug haul in the Asia Pacific.
Right.
No, that is when it came in. So it was just going silently.
Yeah.
You know, in the community, we don't know how far it has reached.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it is, you know, like for people who I made friends with the guy, you know, that was caught with, you know, that was instrumental in setting up that lab.
Okay.
You know, I was just trying to get into the world and think of, you know, for them, it's just about making money. Their life is about making money.
Just money, yes, true.
Enjoying their life, you know. I'm not particularly with any community, but people, you know, that is their mindset, focus on just making money, you know.
Yes.
But they forget that, you know, the souls that are involved. And for now, for what is happening now, it is much more safer, for pushers, for dealers, you know, to just be there and, you know, sending young people to do the errands for them.
True.
You know, it's safer for them, you know, in a way, but
okay.
they don't understand the implications to our children and the future generation of this country. We're thinking of this country, you know, what the effects are to the, you know, life within the communities, the kind of crime that will come with it, and all sorts of things that will come later on. You know, so
I mean, it's already showing.
Yes, it
Yeah.
has.
I imagine them injecting too. I mean, these are the things that we think only happens overseas, but now it's right here where we are. And it's so great to have, you know, people like you to help our country get out of this problem. I mean, we're just a small country. I mean, imagine if all these things spread to everybody. What's going to happen?
So we met, I would say last weekend. Was it last weekend or maybe 7 days ago? We met with the regional director for UNAIDS.
Right.
So he was visiting, obviously. For them, so crucial is because they had no idea that the addicts here are actually injecting it.
Right.
Needle users,
See?
intravenous.
Right.
Whereas he was saying in other countries where he's been, it's more of the powder form or the tablet. And he was quite shocked when we actually said to them, no, they're actually intravenous here in Fiji. And obviously, we don't have what you call the needle users where they can safely, you know, discharge their needles somewhere. And because it's quite expensive to get a needle, let alone, yes, it's quite easy to share the needles that they've got. Yes.
Awful.
Yes, it
I mean,
is.
AIDS and all these things, they don't even care. They don't care about anything.
No, no.
So that's your job, to make them care. I mean, love themselves first, obviously. I mean, because you don't love yourself very much if you're going to be injecting with all these hard drugs, eh?
And that's just one form. And then obviously, we just got to look at how many women we've lost so far to murder.
Oh, man.
The last time I was here, there was only 2 or 3 I knew of. But just in the last week or 2 weeks, yes.
One after the other.
One after the other. Just on the weekend on Saturday, that one at Walu Bay. So that's so sad. Like, how many more women or mothers or aunts, you know, we have to lose in order for us to actually, you know what, we need to wake up. This is, everybody has a role to play. You have.
Yes, Saki, is there anything else that you'd like to add on?
Everyone has a role to play. You know, like it's not only for the police, it's not only for the Drug Free Fiji or Wola Tambo Group. You know, it is everyone who has a role to play here. And something that always comes up is, you know, like the ones committing it. You know, you have to look at the background. You know, some of them do not have any moms, don't have any dads. You know, they just rejected people. You know, like for me personally, it was part of what I did. It's just a rejection of not knowing that somebody is there to support you.
True.
So I had to look for other avenues, you know, to find that peace. You know, and in the streets, that's you find love in the streets. You know, where people care and you know for one another.
See,
when
that's
you are with
experience.
your friends, you know, like you have love, you have comfort there. But the thing is, something is being used to just take away
Pain.
your pain,
Yes.
just to kill
Right.
the pain. But when you get involved within, you don't know the consequences. What it does to your body, the damages to the brain, to your health system. What it does. That is what we are not told.
That's
when
true.
you go into it. So it's more than that. For the perpetrators, you have to know their story and reach out to them. For the children, why they are doing it, you have to look at the background, look
Right.
at the families. Some of them are, most of them, if not all, are from broken families. They've gone through these experiences.
That is very common. It's I
It's
mean
common,
people children from broken families somehow they're affected psychologically the
Very
loss
much.
and they feel alone. There's no love and support and like I mean he's so true, Saki. You said that they find that on the street.
Yes,
Yes,
they
yes.
do.
And
Yes.
like for pastors and for churches, they should not, be judgmental on people, like
Oh,
that.
that's a very good point.
There's
Yes.
something that you should not be pointing fingers at, at anyone for that matter, because I firmly believe that every man or woman, despite or any human being, despite his religion or his race or whatever, has a form of godliness
Yes.
in him.
Yes.
If there are, two street guys, they love each other. There is a form of godliness in that person.
Man,
So
that is so
that is the
true.
way our church leaders should be looking at that.
Yes,
and
taking that
addressing this
angle
issue.
instead of
Yes.
condemning them and saying
Instead of condemning
they
them
will
and
go
judging
to
them.
hell, if they're smokers or if they're drinking
Yes.
alcohol.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to, point at anyone, but that is a really good point that you've
Because
made.
why I'm raising that, because I was high with drugs, and that is when I got saved. So I'm speaking on experience here. So
Yes.
like
Yeah.
you don't judge anyone for that matter.
Yeah, well, I
It
mean,
is,
if you know your Bible, you know
Yeah.
Jesus. Jesus came to save the sinners.
Yes.
Yes.
He didn't come to save the perfect people
Yes,
because they were. I mean, no one's perfect though. But
Exactly.
anyhow, I mean, it has
Yes.
been wonderful having you again on the show. Thank you so much for sharing with us. This is the Volatambu Group, CEO Kale Sivinaka and Saki. Thank you so much. And also to the Ministry of Moms founder, Elana. It's been great. Thank you indeed.
Nakavaliw.
On Speak Your Mind, we'll be back again next week. You take care. Modemanda.